Don't wiggle. No, the thing.
Hey everybody. What if I told you about a culture that you're really close to but not necessarily associated with? That's what I'm here to talk about with you today. It's a culture called participatory culture. I know it's a mouthful. I might mess up during the speech, but we're going to learn its origin. We're going to have an example of the culture in its early stages. And we're also going to look at it in the modern day and examples of it currently. So one thing you probably have heard before is something called consumer culture. Consumer culture is where people act as basically that, consumers. We go out and buy stuff. We go out and watch other people's media. How participatory culture is different from that culture is that the people in participatory culture create their own media. They're more of like a blogger, a YouTuber, something of that nature. Now we'll look at the origin of participatory culture. While I was looking up things about participatory culture, I couldn't really look up anything without seeing a picture of this man, Henry Jenkins. He is a professor at the University of Southern California, and he has been developing this culture since before the internet even started. He published a white paper showing some different things that describes what participatory culture is. Basically, a summary of what it's saying here is that it's a culture where people create media for others, but also enjoy their own media as well. An example of early participatory culture will be the Amateur Press Association. In the mid-19th century, there was a group of young writers that would publish things that they wrote themselves. And they were sent through a network, what we call now a social network. So that's how they started off. But participatory culture in the modern day is something more of like I said earlier, blogger, vlogger, YouTuber, streamer, anything like that. Things you probably watch on a day-to-day basis. We can thank the internet for all the participatory culture we have today because, it opens up many avenues for people to create their own thing. An example of modern participatory culture is something I found on the Columbia State Library database. There was a study conducted in the state of Sao Paulo in Brazil, and the study was aimed to look at the social participation of the people in that state. The results were that the communication was lacking from the people in that culture, but nevertheless it's an interesting read, and I recommend you read it. In conclusion, participatory culture in a communication sense is about people who can create their own type of media. And also, it isn't exactly new. It's been around since, like I said, the mid-19th century. But as time goes on, it's going to become more and more present because of the internet, the age of the internet that we're in now. And we also learned that we're a little closer to this culture than we may have realized, even though we may not participate in it.